the ones who you're dealing with. Forget about the people who are looking at this from outside. Forget about a Ugandan who is not even understanding, like how this is happening.
Yeah. These outsiders.
Yeah. But yeah, so outsiders, there's a certain impression that they have, including even America, even the New York Times was very impressed because this doesn't happen in even in American elections. And I give a lot of credit to Kenya for that.
So Ali, swali.
Yes.
Ni system ilikuwa mbaya au system iliharibika?
So the number of people who were rejected, just from my own observation, like when I was in there during my shift, I could count, because remember we had like 314 registered voter in the DC polling station. I think 220 something showed up to like those are the ones that were counted. There were 229. There was total 231. There were 2 spoilt votes. Those were Baba's votes, but I'm going to talk about that later. But there were the number of people that I counted, like from the because I was there for like maybe like 5 or 6 hours. I counted at least 12 people who were turned away. And 12 people in a situation where you had 230 people. If let's say, because I wasn't there in the other shift, but if you give the same 12 people, that's 25 people. That's 10%. That's 10% of the people who showed up were turned away because of this document.
When I was there were 2.
Yeah, and you were there for a very short period. Yeah, you saw 2. So
2.
And that's.
And I don't know how many people prior had been
and
let
these are
go.
People who had put their kidole on the machine, and the machine had identified them. You are Kizito Wazabanga. Yes. And the machine has identified you. And then IBC anasema, we know you're Kizito Wazabanga, but we're not going to allow you to vote.
Where's your document?
ABC. Yeah. So I think that was problematic. On the spoilt votes, here's another problem. We had a total of 113,000 spoilt votes. And this came in the Supreme Court case where one of the friends of the court, I can't remember who they were trying to make the court reverse that idea that spoilt votes should not be used in the total tally. And I kind of agree with them, because the argument was that here's someone who showed up and they were verified to be who they were, and they cast a ballot. We can't treat this person the same as someone who never showed up, who just stayed home and watched Netflix. So you can't treat these two people the same, and that's the reason why they were saying this vote, of course, it's spoiled. It should not go to him or to her or to candidate A or candidate B, but it should be included in the total tally because these people came up. And I'll tell you something about the spoiled votes. A majority of the spoiled votes, zote, it's there's this portion where you're supposed to tick either Raila or Ruto. So if that tick goes slightly outside that box, it's counted as a spoiled vote. Now, here it's very clear.
Really?
If any, and those two spoiled ballots, that's 1% of the people who showed up. And even when you count those 113,000 votes, that's almost 1% of the total votes. And here you're talking about a vote that was decided by a very small margin.
233,000.
No, I'm not talking even about the margin between the two.
Oh,
I'm
you're talking about the
margin over 50%.
Yeah.
It was decided by a very small margin. So a lot of, if you go and do a review of a lot of those spoiled votes, it's one thing if someone comes and and draws a picture of Mickey Mouse on the ballot and goes home. But here, you can clearly tell this person chose Ruto. You can clearly tell this person's intent was to choose Raila. But then, just because of that silly rule, it's counted as a spoil. And that's why we have a very high number of spoiled votes. And those are some of the rules that maybe need to be reviewed. And this is where now, this is how I think IBC can now start rebuilding trust with people. Because the only reason why Kenya Kwanza people are saying good things about IBC is because they're on the winning side.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we know if they were on the other side, this would completely change. So both sides, the reality is both sides have the still, you know, like they've done a good job on technology, and especially, you know, like when people are looking from the outside, they're seeing, oh, this is so amazing. You know, they're putting, you know, like all these forms online. You can just pick it up, pull it, and look at it. But now your customers, the ones who you're dealing with, forget about the people who are looking at this from outside. Forget about a Ugandan who is not even understanding, you know, like how this is happening.
Yeah. These outsiders.
Yeah. But yeah, so outsiders, there's a certain impression that they have, including even America, even the New York Times was very impressed, because this doesn't happen in even in American elections. And I give a lot of credit to Kenya for that.
So Ali, swali.
Yes.
Ni system ilikuwa mbaya au system iliharibika?
System ilikuwa mbaya kutoka mwanzo. Ukiangalia mambo yaliyotokea.
Hiyo system ya kuonyesha ilikuwa mbaya au system iliharibika?
Ukiangalia kutoka kabla watu waende kupiga kura.
Sawa.
Ukifuatilia mambo ambayo ilikuwa imetendeka.
Sawa.
Na first of all, tuanze na for the first time ever in a Kenyan election, gubernatorial, parliamentary and civic elections were cancelled a day before the election. Yeah, I mean on the date of the election. Yeah, they were postponed on the date of the election. A day before the election, and even on the day, kuna watu walikuwa wanafika kwa polling station, wanaambiwa, oh, bahati mbaya.
No, yeah, hiyo naelewa. Mimi nazungumzia hiyo ya kushare na kustream live na nini. Ilikuwa ni process mbaya au process iliharibika? So
process, I'm really talking about trust here. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the technicalities of doing it. So trust, kuna point ilifika IBC wakaisimamisha.
Sawa, yes.
If you know, like if you're in a situation, tuseme kwa mfano wewe ni boyfriend ambao unajulikana kwa kucheat.
Wewe.
Yeah. Okay. Unajulikana kwa kucheat. Unatambulika kwa kucheat.
Yes.
And then kila mara, you know, like kukiwa na compromising situation, unakutwa sehemu fulani na mwanamke fulani umemshika kwa njia fulani.
Okay.
Yeah. So labda naweza kuwa ni coworker, mlikuwa mna discuss, you know, mambo ya kazini ama nini.
Ama cousin.
Yeah, lakini sasa and that's why IBC on a lot of opportunities they've had to build trust. Unaona kama hiyo hapo, I think if they just continued streaming the results kama vile walivyoanza.
So ndio swali langu linakuja Ali.
Yeah.
Process ilikuwa mbaya au process iliharibika? I mean process yenyewe ilikuwa okay kabla ya uchaguzi watu walipoiangalia, au watu walikataa kabla ya uchaguzi? Kwa sababu nafikiri process iliharibika katikati.
Process watu walikuwa tayari washaanza kukataa kabla ya uchaguzi.
Okay.
Wewe ukifuatilia you know like hata watu wazimio na hata pia watu wa Kenya Kwanza, maswali ambayo walikuwa wanauliza na IBC kuruhusu watu kusimama kura ambao kwamba walikuwa tayari washawe kwa red flag na EACC. Kulikuwa na mambo mengi ambayo ilitokea kabla ya kura ambao watu walirudi wakauliza, na maswala ambayo ilibuka katika ile kesi ya 2017. Kesi ya Supreme Court ya 2017. So kulikuwa na mambo mengi, isipokuwa tu sasa ndio ilikuja ikafunguka sasa baada ya kura, na kwa kura ambayo imeamuliwa kwa kura 69,000 kwa 14 million votes. That's a very small margin, and that's the reason why hata Supreme Court yenyewe they said that you know, like 14 days is a very short period. They said they would need almost a year to, you know, like to determine this case. So they have to use what they have within those 14 days and make a determination.